Welcome to Eyes and Teeth Season 9, Voices of Variety. Sue Pollard is a national treasure and has one of the most recognisable faces and voices in the history of British television. Sue is a sitcom queen, popping up in Gimme Gimme Gimme, Benidorm and Jimmy Perry and David Croft's masterpieces Hi-de-Hi and Oh Dr. Beeching. The list goes on. Musicals, plays and TV variety shows and game shows, you will always smile when she hits your screen, and you can see her recently in Celebrity Masterchef 2021. Sadly, she just got knocked out of the show before the finals, but what great TV she made. We end today's chat on her 2021 tour, HARPY, a play she describes in Eyes and Teeth. I won't spoil it here, but the reviews keep coming. Sue Pollard gives the performance of her life an unmissable tour de force of comedy and drama brought together in a fantastically constructed piece of theatre by Theatre Weekly. A bittersweet production, Pollard is effortless. She delivers a powerful performance which has the audience hooked from the thunderous entrance straight through. Edfest Mag. And Sue Pollard excels. Meeks has woven an elaborate script, beautifully deep and detailed, by Broadway Baby. During our chat, you can hear an honest, genuine, hard-working, lovable human being in Sue, and I just wanted to reach into the phone and give her the biggest hug. She's a delight to get to know, and although we've never met, I've said hello passing at a party and been in the same room with her at numerous gatherings, but we've never spoke to each other, one-on-one. Until now. Welcome to Eyes and Teeth, Voices of Variety, Sue Pollard. Hi Sue, how are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you, darling. Have you had a good morning?
Yes, lovely, thank you. Very, very busy.
Oh, marvellous. Oh, I like it. I like that word, busy.
I've really enjoyed researching you over the last couple of days.
Oh, that's really good. It sounds like you've been looking at all my medical history.
We're not going to do any hands-on medical this afternoon, though. Sue Pollard, a natural talent and one of the most recognisable and lovable personalities of British television. I have to say, all I do when I see her on TV is smile. From Hi-de-Hi to wooing the crowds in Las Vegas, Sue Pollard, welcome to Eyes and Teeth.
Thank you, and I love the title.
Oh, do you?
Oh, absolutely, because, I mean, that's been a showbiz-ism for years, hasn't it? That's what we always say. Now, before we go on, don't forget, girls, Eyes and Teeth.
Oh, do you know what? That's so lovely.
Really matter what you're doing, you're thinking, oh, God, just smile and do your bit. So it's a great title.
It's lovely, isn't it? And I got it from Keith Harris.
He was fabulous. I loved him. We did, we didn't do a summer season together, but we were all in Blackpool. We were doing a summer season, it's got to be about 36 years ago, in Blackpool, but also Keith was also with Orville in another theatre, and it was just really great. And then all of us that were appearing in various venues used to go to this pub called the Viking Arms.
Yes.
And Jack, who was a lovely guy, Jack kept that place open for us, for all the other guys that had already done a show, and obviously couldn't go out because we were performing. So we used to go and have our wonderful, night out there. So that's how I got to know Keith. He was a great guy.
Oh, he was, wasn't he? I done a summer season in Blackpool, Sue, in 1995 at Blackpool Tower. And I remember, yeah, I know, I think you were doing a show there, actually, with Les Dennis and Roy Walker at the Grand. And
oh, yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was, do you know where that was? That was, I think that was the North Pier.
Yes.
It was amazing. I love Blackpool, you see, and I really feel sorry for Blackpool as a whole now, darling, because it seems to have lost its position.
It's magic.
Showbiz, if you like.
Yeah.
About how marvellous it always was. Everyone used to sort of gravitate there, didn't they, to Blackpool? But, the audiences and that are very warm, and they're very discerning, If they don't think it's much cop, newsworth, soon gets around. But luckily, whenever I've been there, audiences have seemed to enjoy the show. So it's a good number one circuit date.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed my season there, and I saw you around town a couple of times at a few charity events, and I saw you singing once in a bar below the Blackpool Tower. And you really are a people's person, aren't you, Sue? You love people.
Oh, yes, very much so. I think if you've got that type of personality, you know, and you don't mind talking to people. And I'm just very good at making small talk sometimes. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people don't want to get into real sort of heavy-duty debates, do they?
No.
Some people are just as happy saying, oh, do you know, I've been to Sainsbury's and that, you know, pork chop I bought, you had so much fat on it. I can just go, oh, I know what you mean. So you find yourself, you adapt, don't you, to people?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's lovely communicating, especially in these times. It's nice to actually be talking to anybody. So but that's lovely when you're out and about and just chatting to
I
you.
agree with you. No, it's just nice. And very often, it's just nice to pass the time of day. But I do find that coming from, like, the Midlands, I'm sort of like Nottingham. So a lot of people, when you first come to London, they will insist on the fact that you're northern, you know.
Yes.
And you're not really, there's a difference between, but equally, I find that people in the south, in general, I don't like to generalise, but on this occasion I will, they're not very good at being as open as we are initially. Would you agree?
Yes, yeah, not as many extroverts, are there, down south?
No, and I do think that they want to talk to you as well. Like, you go on a train, like if you're in Manchester and you're on a train, for example, and you're only going 3 stops, there'll still be somebody, you know, chatting to you, and you'll know how many grandchildren they've got and where to go on their holidays in 15 minutes.
I know. It was a lovely time when people would talk.
It's rather funny. But you come here, and I think it's, especially London, any big city, often they're just so intent on getting from A to B, they just haven't got time to talk to you.
Oh, it's such a shame. But you did mention Nottingham, but you were age 6 when you got your first laugh unintentionally, weren't you, when you were playing an angel?
Oh, yes. Yes, I was playing an angel. It was, the nativity play, the annual one, and I was supposed to stand and say, "Fear not, Mary. Angel Gabriel will be coming to you, and you will be with child." Well, anyway, I was a bit, I thought, I can't stay on the same level as the audience. And even at 6, I said, "Miss, I think I've got to be a bit high here." So she said, "Oh, that's all right. I'll make a nice thing for you to stand on." So she got me a cardboard box, which really was not that fabulous. And then she put loads of tape on it, and she said, "This will be your plinth." So I stood on the plinth of my, you know, my feet went through the lid because she hadn't taped it up very well.
Oh, no.
And because they all killed themselves laughing, I was kind of thrilled because they'd laughed. But at the same time, I thought, well, it's not very nice they're laughing at me because I'm falling through the box. Anyway, I got over that. It was funny.
It's a bit bittersweet.
Just have to soldier on.
Yes. And how early was it until you discovered Lucille Ball, who became one of your inspirations?
Yes, I was 11. And it would be her shows. And then, because we're talking 60 years ago, right? So there we were. And obviously, Lucille was the first performer, whether female or not, that was in charge of producing her own show. And in fact, she was the first person that had more than one camera in the studio.
Yes.
Because otherwise it would have taken, goodness knows how many hours. So for that alone, I thought, I'll take my hat off to her. And she just did these silly things, and very physically funny they were as well. So, yeah, I admired her a great deal. She really worked hard at her craft, and I just thought she was funny. There was one bit where she worked in the office of the bank manager, and he said, "Right, Lucy, I want you to do the filing system." "Oh, yes, you can count on me." So she did the filing system, and he said something like, "I can't find Mr. Rogers here." "Well, where's Mr. Rogers' file?" She said, "Well, I put it in the letter Z because I felt sorry for it. There was nothing in it."
That's funny.
It just made me laugh. It's the sort of thing. Oh, I just liked her a lot. So, yeah, she was definitely my idol.
Ice and Teeth. I'm sure there's some young, inspiring actors and comedy actresses that are looking up to you in the same light. And I believe, you've inspired so many people. And you just, I think you're just a ray of energy to be around. And I think you do brighten up a lot of people's day, just by seeing you.
Oh, it's really kind of you. I think I'd far rather be someone that said, for example, oh, blimey, she talks about 25,000 miles an hour. She's extremely exhausting. I can't be doing with it, as it were. Rather than, well, it's bloody boring for a start. I mean, we've all been with people, and also, John, the thing is, my philosophy, you are only here once, and I think a lot of people would have come to understand during this past year. Sadly, there's a lot of people that will never live to see the light of day because of what's happened. But also, I think a lot of people will probably take stock about what they've got in their lives, and they probably don't live it enough to the full. I'm very mindful, Steve. I practice mindfulness, which means,
great,
for people that might not know, that, you live for the moment.
Yes.
And you get more out of it than suddenly thinking, I can't wait to go to Mexico next November. Not this year, 2022. Well, you might not be here, dear. So you've got to have a bit of fun, darling, in your life.
Yeah, enjoy today, definitely.
Yeah, if you can.
Oh, conversational.
Opportunity Knocks in 1974. Can you tell me about that show? I did do a TV talent show a couple of years ago on Britain's Got Talent, but Opportunity Knocks was Britain's Got Talent of its day, wasn't it?
Oh, very much so, yes. It wasn't what I call a padded out show. They had more people on the show, but they just looked at what you could do. They didn't talk to friends and family or found out where you worked and everything. It was just basically going on and just doing what your stick was.
Yes.
And basically, though, it was really brought on by some people you used to write in, and they'd say, is anybody that you know, whatever they do you think that they deserve a spot on this new talent show? And a friend of mine, we were in the Amdrams together, and she nominated me to go and sing something. So what they did, they found out where you lived. They had certain people all around the country going to visit various hopefuls, in the church hall or wherever. And then they said, right, a certain time you arrived at wherever this address was. And they said, right, what have you got for us today? So I said, I'd like to sing I Don't Know How to Love Him from Jesus Christ Superstar. Oh, okay then. Right, so I duly sang that. And then the man said to me, you've got a funny face. Have you got a funny song? So I said, well, I haven't brought one with me at the moment. So they said, well, come back again because we're here for 3 days. So I went back the next day and sang, I'm just a girl who can't say no. And he went, yes, you'll be hearing from us in due course. And I was thrilled a bit, so I heard from them, went up to do the song. I think it was, yes, obviously Opportunity Knocks. And then suddenly they had to stop halfway through. They said, you're not singing to the camera. I said, well, I haven't got my glasses on. I can't see what I'm singing into. And it was, I think it was a monitor. I wasn't looking at the light properly, so we had to carry on with that, take 2. And then I came second to a singing dog.
Oh, no. We always dread that.
I thought, well, my career's had it before. It even got off the ground, But fortunately, I was undeterred, and I just carried on from there. But it was a nice experience. How did you get on? What did you think of your experience?
Well, I got to the finals as the wild card. I was a ventriloquist with, I had a Simon Cowell puppet and a Sanita puppet. And it was, and I got on quite well. I came 4th in the end in the final. But it was...
Darling, how fabulous is that? Well, I hope it's brought you lots of work.
Oh, thank you. It did open a lot of doors for me, Sue. And I went to America with the Osmonds. That was nice. It was all...
How fantastic. Is that... were you actually able to see where they were performing? Did you go to Vegas?
Not Vegas, no. I worked with... it wasn't Donnie and Marie. I worked with Jimmy, Jay and Merrill, who were the brothers. The brother Osmonds.
Oh, I do. Now, isn't that funny? Because Merrill, you'll know then, I don't know if you know that he is here or has been here, doing a show, because before the COVID started, he was at broadcasting. No, he wasn't. It was at Terry Wogan's broadcasting house thing, Wogan House.
Oh, yes.
And he was there to do a publicity for his upcoming tour. Yeah, we got chatting. And he's a nice chap, isn't he, as well?
Oh, he's adorable. And I do believe that Jay Osmond is producing Osmond's The Musical coming out soon.
Oh, fabulous. Wouldn't it be great if you could go appear in that?
Oh, that would be amazing. But you actually toured quite a lot of your early work was in musicals, wasn't it, Sue? You've done really well.
Oh, yes. Actually, I was more than anything, I was always in musicals. I suppose I've been fortunate, although I got my big break in the TV comedy, and I always like to think that I was able to get experience on the stage. That was great, because you're used to performing then, and you're not quite such a virgin, if you like, in terms of how to actually be in a show and carry it off for half an hour.
Yes.
But I love that. I think it's nice if you can do a bit of both, darling. I like musicals, I like TV, but are you like me? Do you, if you can, try and, shall we say, choose your products that you want to do if you're looking up? Because sometimes when I first started, I don't know about you, you go, oh yeah, that'll be fine, because you need to get experience of everything. But
yes.
Sometimes, 40 years later or so, you might go, actually, I don't really want to do that now, because they offer you something that you did similarly years ago. So, and probably better then than it would be now. So I choose my projects carefully.
Yeah, that's nice, and I do. I've been offered some TV work that doesn't really suit me, and you kind of do work it to your best experience. You want to put the best of yourself into that job, and if it's a TV show that you don't feel you'd be comfortable in, or a theatre tour, then you go somewhere else, wouldn't you? And you need to be happy with what you're going into.
Well, I do, darling, because I tell you, it's the most marvellous thing when you've been working with people and you might not work with them again for years.
Yes.
And then you suddenly, although you're friends maybe, you've kept in touch, but then suddenly you work together again, and it's the most marvellous thing, because you remember the last time you worked with them and the fun you had, as well as the professionalism and as well as what it takes to get a show on. There's nothing nicer than 30 years or even 10 years later going, I really enjoyed that, because it's part of it, the enjoyment. Can you imagine then if you suddenly met somebody and you went, God, I hated that show we were in, or
yeah.
It's part of your duty.
Yes.
To make good memories for each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't be a diva. Don't be a cow. Don't be a so and so. Just be professional. Be disciplined. Do the very best you can, but make it a fun project as well.
Yeah, you want people that you're working with to enjoy seeing you again, don't you? And go, oh, I can't wait to work with that person again. I did the same in pantomime with a guy called Alan Fletcher, who's Dr. Carl Kennedy in Neighbours. And
I know.
Yeah, I love Alan, and I got to do panto with him. And about 6 years later, I was offered another panto, and I took that panto because he was in it again. And it's when you come across these people that you admire and got on with so well, it's nice to see him again.
Oh, it's marvellous, darling, and you know that there's going to be no hassle.
Yes.
Because there's nothing worse than being stressed out and people, thinking, oh, I can understand it, though, darling. We all get a bit nervous. We all get our own quirks, don't we? But I think you've got to be a bit of a psychologist in this business as well, because some people need more nurturing than others. And I don't think it matters that, when you get to know somebody a little bit more, and you find that they're a little bit they're prone to be a bit precious. And then you've got to say, look, it's all right, darling, we're all in the same boat, you'll be fine. And then you can cajole them, can't you? But sometimes, sadly, there are some people, and I've been very fortunate, there's some people I guess, because it's the very nature of their personality, you're probably not really going to get through to. Do you know what I mean? So you just have to do your best, don't you? Get on with them, have a nice as time as you can.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
You might not work with them again.
I spoke a couple of weeks ago to the lovely Jeffrey Holland, who...
mate, we're working together together again soon.
Again soon, that's amazing, because he told me how wonderful it was doing Heidi High with you and then doing Panto with you last year, or the year before.
Because we have not, like I was talking earlier, we haven't done anything practically together since Heidi High, really. We've done a couple of catch-ups and stuff on a Zoom and that, but it was fabulous to actually physically work with him. We had a fabulous scene in the Panto where I was Queen Rat and I was a baddie, and I wanted to get the keys to the safe in the shop, Dick Whittington's shop, and he was the alderman, of course, Fitzwarren. I got this big clock and had to swing it backwards and forwards, and I hypnotised him. I had such a laugh. I mean, at one point, I said something to him, and he started laughing, and it made me laugh, so both of us, and said, come on, we'll do this bit again. Sorry for that slight cock-up, ladies and gentlemen. But you've got to have some fun, haven't you, like we said?
Especially in pantomime. And for you, you and Jeffrey must be like brother and sister. I mean, to have that reunion back on stage must have been wonderful to do that. He said how much fun he had with you doing that.
No, it was really lovely because, and also, you see, because you've known each other for so long, you can say all sorts of things to each other, but also stuff that nobody else would probably imagine, what was going on. We'd have to say, oh, no, that's just a private joke between us, sorry, then we'd have to explain about stuff and all that. But, I mean, it's just nice, that sort of thing is. But also, I said to him one day, well, we're still here, dear. I mean, who'd ever thought that you'd still be doing stuff in your 70s? I mean, it's marvellous. But equally, I think it's probably like yourself, darling. I'm just hoping that you will do your ventriloquism and everything when you're, older and older.
Yeah, because we don't retire, do we, in this business, Sue? The business retires you.
I always say, lovely, whenever you've got the energy and the passion and the enthusiasm for it, that's the thing.
Yes.
I think if ever you were to lose the E word, the enthusiasm, for whatever reason, it's just not worth doing it, because you've got to get excited. Because if you're going to be creative every day, and by that I mean, although you know what part you're doing, you've got to rehearse it and put into it and put your own ideas into that. If you lose that, there's no point in doing it, because, step aside then for somebody else that might want to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Make space. Eyes and Teeth. Heidi High for you in 1980. It must have been incredible to get that part. And David Croft and Jimmy Perry, they cast their sitcoms perfectly, didn't they?
Oh, totally. I think what they did, they had an idea of, if you already were established, they were very loyal, David and Jimmy, because they often used people that they'd known when they were younger in their stage work days. For example, Jimmy used to produce and direct shows at the Watford Palace. Now, that was a marvellous venue for shows and touring shows. In fact, he directed Ruth in one of his shows, and he said to Ruth, I tell you what, whenever I write something, Ruth, and I can picture you in it, you'll be definitely given the role. So that's what I'm saying at first. They try and envisage people that they want to see in their shows. So that was great for Ruth. Straight away, she got the part of Gladys without even having to say a word.
Amazing.
But I don't know if you're aware of this, though, Steve, but a lot of agents, they don't just look after actors and variety performers, well, as any entertainment of any nature. They very often have writers and directors and producers in the same, office. So what they do, they're not daft.
Yes.
My agent at the time was also David and Jimmy's agent, the writers.
Okay.
Of obviously Fabulous Dad's Army and stuff. And they're not daft, because they'll send their own clients up first. Why shouldn't they? Oh, I think I've got somebody that you might feel suitable that you haven't seen yet. So that's how I got along for the audition. I went up to the house. Well, this is Jimmy's house. It was a flat, and it was in South London somewhere. That's it, near Victoria.
Right.
Went up all these steps, Have you ever seen that film, Barefoot in the Park?
No.
Oh, you've got to look it up. It's Robert Redford and Jane Fonda, and of course they madly in love with each other, but they want to move out of this flat. I think it's on 264 steps up.
Wow.
Robert Redford's character's mother comes up for tea. She knocks on the door and she collapses into his arms because she's got no strength left. You can imagine she can't get her breath. Well, by the time I'd got up all the stairs to Jimmy's apartment, there was no lift. I was nearly dead there.
Really?
I was
Wow.
completely stuffed. And it was really funny because I got this fabulous, I thought, fur coat covered in patchouli oil and a black bowler hat with a feather in it. And I knocked on the door and he opened it and he said, "No, thank you, I don't want any pegs." So I said, "Well, no, I'm not a gypsy. I've come for the chat about this, new TV show." It's hilarious. So I went in, we had a chat, and I didn't hear anything for a year. So I thought, oh, they're probably, not bothered. And then I got the call from the agent saying, "They've got this little role for you as a chalet maid. Would you like to accept the part?" I said, "Well, would I ever? I'd be daft not to take the part, really." So that's how it started.
And there were some incredible people in the cast, weren't there? I once went to a TV show and the TV warm-up man was Felix Bonus, and he was lovely to me. It was so nice backstage. And
I remember so glad because he really was. He was very thoughtful always. Another one you see that was kind to people that were up and coming, because I think he remembered, people being kind to him when he first started. And to me, the essence of showbiz is, even if you don't work with anybody particularly, you kind of keep an eye, you know what they're doing. So, and you think, oh, bless him, I hope he's doing okay. I mean, thinking all the time of doing it. We all have to do it. The travelling, the train, it breaks down.
Yes.
The car, you run out of petrol. Then you can't find the venue. So in a way, you're all brothers and sisters in this business called show. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think people, we should. I always think that you've got to try and encourage the younger ones. And Felix was fabulous. He used to be the warm-up man, as well.
On the same show?
All the audience up.
Oh, wow.
And he used to tell all these gags just before, in the Hardy House studio. And he'd go, "Have you heard the one about the..." And then he'd go, halfway through, "Oh, I can't be bothered to tell you, this is boring." So the poor audience never got to know what the tag was. It was hilarious. And then we all used to do a regular thing each week. And Ruth did something, her little thing that she used to do to make the audience laugh. And I used to do this wonderful, sophisticated little song. And I used to say, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'd now like to sing a song for you that I recorded for MGM, my grandmother." And I said it, and it's entitled, "My Old Man's a Lumberjack, so mind you don't sit on his chopper." Pathetic, really. And then I used to sing, "Whenever I feel afraid..." I wet myself. So to absolute, it was ridiculous. But we just used to do silly things to get the audience, like in a gay, fun mood,
Yeah, that's wonderful. The atmosphere must have been brilliant. And you had 8 years on that show, but you actually went out and done Heidi High, the stage show as well.
Yes, that was one of David and Jimmy's really big things. They were very good at understanding and marketing a project that was actually very successful and viewed by millions of people. So straight away, they'd go, "I tell you what, if we were at a stage version of this, I'm pretty sure we could do a summer season here." And of course, he did that with Ain't Half Hot Mum, and of course, and Dad's Army.
Yes.
So they knew absolutely that it was a really good format. I think what they did as well, they replicated the sets and they flew in from the flies, And what they did, they wrote for the stage some of the incidents that we did within the TV show. And there was one once, it was marvellous. Peg Peggy was in the audience, that she was with the audience, but thinking that the audience were like the live audience were campers. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So she'd go into the audience herself and pretend that she was in the Hawaiian ballroom.
Okay.
And I remember Simon Cadell, you know, who used to be Mr. Fairbrother,
Of course.
he'd say, right, ladies and gentlemen, eyes down for a full house. No, not at all enigmatic, was he, or enthusiastic. He always used to speak like this.
Yes.
That was the excitement. And then he said, we're now here for the Maplin's Bingo. And I remember playing the bingo with the audience, you know, while they were. And I was supposed to say, Mr. Fairbrother, I've got a full house. And this lady said to me, now before you go and collect your prize, will you sign me autograph? She forgot that. She didn't realise I was supposed to be in the show. We had such great fun. We did Bournemouth summer season with that. Then we did Blackpool, of course. But in the meantime, we did a big season at the Victoria Palace at London.
Wow.
And that was terrific. And it was just at that time, though, darling, over 30-odd years ago, the Victoria Palace, the producers were very, very hands-on, and they could see the money they could make. So we did 2 shows, one at 6 o'clock, and one at 8:45, twice nightly for 6 days.
Really?
So
that's a lot of work.
That's when you really worked then, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But the show was popular, darling, and they were of the belief that a lot of people at home would love to go and see the people that they watch in person, and everybody makes the money, and everybody then, you know, got the fun of it, and they've paid good money to see a good show. They don't do it so much now, you see, but they were, of its time, they knew how to market a TV show.
Yeah, definitely. I think they've done the same with Benidorm, because that went on to do a live show, didn't it, Benidorm? And you did appear in Benidorm, because I watched it during lockdown.
Oh, yes, I loved that as well. That was ever so well done. I liked him. Yeah, but Darren, you see, when you look, I don't know if you, well, obviously you've just seen it though, Steve, but when you look at the actual start of the show, it's all in neon, isn't it? Like Heidi has the neon signs there.
Yes, he must have been inspired by your show.
Yes, he definitely was. He said to me he was inspired by that, and he liked it. He liked the idea that there were short, sharp scenes. You know, he didn't linger, and that's the kind of fun he liked. He wasn't sophisticated in terms of how he wanted his comedy to be seen. It was just very sort of slapsticky, very immediate. Some of it doesn't matter about Do Blonde Hondas, because most people laugh at that sort of thing. And if they don't, they're lying, because they do. Everybody has their own take on, you know, double meaning stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Innuendos, yes, yeah.
So he definitely got his inspiration from that. And he, too, did a stage show that lasted, I think, 2 or 3 years for him.
Yeah,
so
it was a huge success.
I think if that format works, Steve, then you carry on with it, don't you, if you can?
Oh, contributional.
You had 58 episodes in Heidi High, and so when something like that ends, Sue, was it a worry at the end when it was all over, or did you go straight into other things? Because I know that Jimmy and David had you lined up for Oh Dr. Beeching, and you rang my lord. They cast you in there as well?
Yes, well, luckily, we were very lucky. Myself, Shaney, and Jeff, that's what we used to call Paul, Shaney. I used to call him No Neck, because every time I said to him, where's your neck? I said, I don't think you've got one. You know, because he had such a thick set neck that, you know, his head just seemed to stick on his shoulder somehow. And he used to call me Four Eyes. I mean, the usual, you know, but that was all affectionate.
Yeah.
And we were told during the last series of filming Heidi High, and we think we're doing this new show. This is 50 minutes long this time. And he said, we'd like you to be in it, same as Jeff and Paul. And we said, what's it about, obviously? And that's when he said, oh, no, I don't want to be another maid. He said, no, but it's different to Heidi High. You will be a lady's maid, etc. And I said, oh, well, I'll do it then. And so we were looking at the fact that we didn't know we were going on to another show. But when you know something's coming to an end, it does its part, Steve, I think, for all of us, once again, was just missing the fun we had. And every time you had the script, well, I mean, you could just imagine how all the characters that you'd come to get to know and all the actors within the piece, you would laugh your tits off because you could hear them saying it in your own mind.
Yeah.
Oh, and we've never... I laughed and laughed. So when we did You Rang Me Lord, it was the most marvellous bonus to be actually in another show that was successful, but not long after Heidi High. You were dead lucky, because sometimes, Steve, you have to wait years before you get another TV, really.
Yeah.
So I know in that we were all very lucky.
Oh, that's amazing. And what comes with that when you come out of great television is that the pantomimes is just never ending, isn't it? And you love playing the baddie. What is it you love about making children cry, Sue?
I know, I do. Well, you know, if they don't cry, I feel I've done a dismal job. I've gone back and I've got, oh, that little child, I targeted this child. And I thought, you little devil, you're trying to outdo me, because one little kid once gave me the evils. He was more evil than me. I thought, you're spoiling my act. Get off. But,
that's lovely.
I think what it is, really what it is, it's not being a cruel, horrible person.
No.
It's actually knowing that you're doing the part well enough that it's believable to that child.
Yes.
That's what it is. I really feel then that I've got across to them. And there's one child, and I went, I'm going to turn you all into toads and slimy frogs. It was fabulous.
They love that.
And suddenly this kid went, ah! I couldn't help it. I was so excited. I went, I've got one. She's having to go out. She never came back in again, poor cow. You know, the poor woman, she's probably paid all this money for these tickets, never to be seen again. Oh, yeah, but who wants to be a principal girl?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what principal girl parts are like, Steve. Not that you've ever probably put a frock on, but you know what I mean?
No, not yet. I've not been asked yet. No, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, to play the baddie, I've known a few people that have played baddies, and they love that part. They love playing that part to get them.
But also, you see, you know, when you do all your lovely dolls,
yes.
Well, they're human to you, aren't they?
Only on stage, yes.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? But they are. And can't you get away with murder when you think about it? Because it's the doll that's speaking.
It's the character.
The unfortunate dialogue, isn't it? So you can't get blamed. Who was that fabulous man? Which Spent was it, Steve? You'll know. He had that wonderful, filthy character.
Was it Arthur Worsley?
Yeah, that's it. Oh, it was marvellous. He used to say terrible things and used to say awful things. That, look at that ugly old cat. What was that? It wasn't me, you know, but it was. Oh, it was hilarious. So anyway, I just thought I'd put that bit in, because what I'm saying is, you could say, you could be a baddie, but it's the doll saying it.
Yes. No, entirely. You can get away with so much, can't you, as a character?
Oh, I love it. I love all events. I think it's very hard. It must be. I've tried to do it, darling, and
have you?
I don't know how you managed. I mean, you've got to practice, haven't you?
Yeah, just keep practicing. And I'm finding myself actually rewriting and practicing now to go back out to work next month. So it'll be nice when we all open up again and we get to do that.
Oh, I think so. I don't blame you. That's the most thrilling thing, knowing that we're all in the same boat together. We can't do it without each other. They want to be entertained, and you think it's great to actually have the public there, so it would be lovely. So, you know, to welcome the audiences back, won't it, actually? Yeah,
it'll be extremely nice. Now, Sue, I spoke to a couple of months ago Michael Aspel on this show, and because I really love the This Is Your Life shows, and you were actually on Aspel and Company, and Michael talked about this moment when Oliver Reed was on the show, and you were actually sat next to Oliver Reed when he done this very entertaining entrance.
Oh, it was marvellous. problem. You're supposed to, come on, you know, they used to think, they had the house band there. You know, sometimes you have these chat shows and they have little bands, and they play you a few bars of music for your entrance.
Yes.
And so I'd already been on, and we sat there, you know. And then suddenly, and Michael said, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure. Please welcome Mr. Oliver Reed. So he comes on, and straight away, you know, most people just go on to that little stage area, bow, whatever they do, and then they go and sit down into the designated seat.
Yes.
It was hilarious. So he suddenly went, I'm a wild one. And he went, I'm a wild one, came out of nowhere, you know. And the poor bloke, you could see Mike, the MD, another Michael, going, what the, oh God, what am I going to do? And he didn't know what key to play in. And I didn't want to leave him just standing there like that. So he got the whole band to, they just kind of riffed along.
Wow.
Song that poor old Oliver Reed sang. It was hilarious. And then he just flailed his arms about, you know. And then he went, thank you, gentlemen, and sat down. Well, I mean, for a start, it was TV gold. That's what Michael Aspel said.
Yes.
That's what he called it.
Yeah, it was. It was true.
Situations like that, it was terrific. And he came on with a jug of orange juice. And he had that lovely voice, you know, that velvet voice. Hello, I've just come along with my orange juice because I'm not allowed anything else. That was a real dig at the fact that they wouldn't allow alcohol, you see.
Right, okay.
Because he had a wonderful reputation.
Yes.
Sadly, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, Steve.
I know.
When you're, say, most of the gentlemen, sometimes, if they've got the reputation of a rip-roaring film star, and, you know, they like to have a little tipple of gin or something, they're really hoping that you come on drunk, really. And if you're not drunk, they're really upset that you're really boringly sober.
Really, you can't win that situation.
Exactly. So, but anyway, he came up to me and he said, would you like some of this, Bill? I said, oh, no, thanks, I'm fine. Don't ruin my frock. Always could have put it all over my new £200 frock. Well, I mean, that was a lot of money 40 years ago. And then... But I loved Oliver Reed, and but he did say that he hadn't had a drink for about 5 years. He did really well.
Really?
You know,
he did.
For whatever reason, you know, it's like a lot of people, I suppose, you can't there, but for the grace, you know, but he was still a great performer.
Oh, he's a great character, and he got the job done on the movie scene, didn't he? He got the jobs done, and he made some incredible movies.
Yes, exactly. I mean, and let's face it, you know, you've got to have characters sometimes in life. Flipping it, you know, everybody can be so sort of, oh, yes, it was all frightfully good, and, you know, nothing wrong with that, but you've got to accept, I like the maverick side of fabulous.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And characters is what it's all about. But you have been on some quite relaxed TV shows, and I saw this lovely clip of you. I sat and watched the whole song of you duetting with Val Dunekun, and it was just such a lovely song that you duetted with him on.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, was it Can't Get Used to Losing You?
Oh, yeah, it was the Andy Williams song, wasn't it?
That was it. Andy Williams, yeah. Fabulous that was. I was really fortunate to get quite friendly with Yvonne, this lady Yvonne. She used to produce all the Val Dunekun shows, and we were actually at the BBC Club. They've got a BBC, that's what you used to call it, on the 6th floor. And when you'd all finished doing all your recordings, and that's how you relaxed, all the pubs were shut, you know, you couldn't really, so you used to go up into the private members bar. And we all just got chatting one day. So sometimes, Steve, that is where deals are done, aren't they?
Oh, yes.
So it was equivalent to the golf course. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
totally.
That was really lovely. Got chatting and said, oh, I think I'd love you to come on the show. I said, oh, so would I, please. That'd be fabulous. And so we got there, and I remember rehearsing. Very good with Val. Very beautiful skin. Isn't it funny how you look at people and you go, I liked his manner, very professional. By that, I mean, you know, not flappable, nothing like that, just very, hello, sir, welcome to the set. Yes. Very nice to be working with you, and da-da-da. And, yeah, that was lovely. I've been very lucky, really. That's the That's the kind of show that I miss now, Steve. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, me too, like the Des O'Connor shows and all those variety shows where they had people like you on as characters, and doing their thing, just singing and talking and laughing, And I remember entertaining a Lady Ratlin's lunch once, and Val Doonican was in the audience, and I think he was just turning 80 at that time. And it was just he was like the Andy Williams of the UK, wasn't he, really?
Oh, yes, I think you're absolutely right. That's totally spot on. Yeah, similar kind of, except I guess he probably was not known as sort of around the world as much as Andy Williams was.
No.
But equally, all that, experience he'd had, and just that lovely, the rocking chair manner, the just the smooth delivery of the music and everything, that demeanour.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Now, I've been a big fan of yours for so many years, Sue, and I was delighted to see you on a show that I loved called Gimme 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 with Kathy Burke and James Dreyfus. And when you come out dressed as her, it just made the show even more funnier. It was brilliant. It must have been.
Oh, yes, it was excellent stuff. I mean, because funny enough, again, I think sometimes, Don, you're lucky that you might not know and meet these people, but they've seen what you've done and stuff, not just myself, but, all of us somewhere randomly. And he rang my agent and said, I'm interested in Sue appearing in one of these episodes. Do you think you should be interested? Oh, yes, of course. I'm always interested, darling. I don't know about you, Steve. I never make a judgment on anything until I've read the script.
Right, yes.
I'm certainly not averse. I would hate to say no straight away. See, I always say, send me the script, please. I'll read it 3 or 4 times, which I always do. I read a script 4 times. And because by the second reading, then it goes in a bit more. The third reading, you get more happy and with it. And then I said, I think this will be great. But here's the rub, though, Steve. Bearing in mind, I've been doing Heidi High and You Rang My Lord for a long time. And there's a particular way of working with David and Jimmy.
Yes.
There are no rewrites.
Okay.
The only rewrites they've ever done is when we were filming all the outside, all the OB stuff, right, and it was... and it rained, absolutely bucketed it down, Steve.
Really?
And it was like this for 3 days. And anyway, they'd obviously got the weather forecast. And David and Jimmy said, look, the schedule is going to be absolutely screwed. We can't spend 3 days waiting for the weather. We can't film anywhere else. We've got all the lights rigged, everything. He said, right, what we need to do is do we've got a rewrite here. So we all had to come out with umbrellas. It was still around the pool. But what I'm saying is that was out of necessity.
Yes.
Ordinarily, the script you got through the post, and until you'd finished and you'd rehearsed it and recorded it, that's the dialogue you said.
Okay.
And I was used to that, and you felt very secure with that because, well, you do it in your sleep, Steve. You knew it that well. And I don't mind that. I like to be secure in that respect. Anyway, it's totally different in Gimme Gimme. Oh dear! Do you know I got the final working script the night before recording.
Really? Wow.
Oh yes, it was just the way they did it. It was in a way it's a very American way. You know when they do Friends and everything, they did Friends.
Yes.
Sometimes, because the audience reaction was not as big as they expected in rehearsal, the guys were tasked with rewriting the gag actually during recording.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely. I find that gobsmacking, actually, Steve. I don't know about you.
Wow, that's very last minute, isn't it?
Yeah, talk about lastminute.com. But they felt that maybe it could be improved. And Jonathan Harvey, he was really good. He said, because Kathy Burke, she was actually script editor, and she was actually very good at, shall we say, maybe thinking, oh, this might be, why don't you say this, Jonathan? Could we have this, do you think? And could we have that? And, of course, anything to probably make the script better.
Yes.
So that's the way they worked. So I used to find it, oh, God, there's another script to ride by taxi, I just learned the other one. I've got to have another one to learn.
Oh, no.
But anyway, we did it, and it was that was just another great experience as well. So, and once again, Jonathan's a really, really good writer, knows his stuff, because of course he still writes for Coronation Street.
Yes, a brilliant talent, isn't it? And the writers out there are. It's amazing to have so many writers for sitcoms and dramas and sitcoms these days is quite vast, isn't it? I mean, over lockdown, everybody sat there watching Netflix, and it's drama after drama and sitcoms, and it's so nice to have great writers out there still.
Oh, I think so. It makes you wonder sometimes, Steve, how many good up-and-coming writers will get the chance to actually get their stuff on screen. I mean, it's not just one person that says yes to it now. There's actually a team of people, probably a dozen or so,
yes,
to actually decide when something gets on. Well, I mean, they've all probably got a different idea of what should be seen, and I think that must be incredibly hard. And also, how many situations can you arise or write when so many situations have already been done? Do you know what I mean, though? It must be quite difficult now, Steve.
At the end of the day, it's nice to see Sue Pollard go out there and just perform on a stage. And when we saw you in Las Vegas, ITV put on a great show where you just went to do your thing, but it was in America. And was that just another TV show for you, or was it a bit of a dream to go and do that?
No, I think in actual fact, it was just another. Now, I want to put this properly so that I know that you'd always seen for years and years movies or even little one-off spectaculars that were on TV from the likes of Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., Judy Garland, etc., all appearing in these fabulous places in Las Vegas. And I think it's, especially if you're in showbiz, you just love the idea of actually going to tread on the boards that they trod on. You know what I mean? In that wonderful, what I call the older, when it was real fabulous showbiz, and it was in
the Rat Pack and all that.
Something that you probably never even think that you do.
Like the Palladium, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really, really, that was a definite pull. That was how fabulous. And I remember Bobby saying, Bobby, because we were talking, we've known each other for years, and when Bobby was on board, it was fabulous, And I said, well, I hope you're going to do Liberati. He said, oh, I think that's what they want me to do, And
yes.
Just fabulous as well. We were both really excited, and so was Bobby Ball, sadly, lovely Bobby, and Tommy.
Oh, bless them, yeah.
Anita, of course, was able to go, and she first went when she was 16. So
yes.
was a memory lane for her.
Oh,
it was just terrific, and the way it was all put together. And the reason I wanted to do it, there was a bit sort of, if you like, a reality type show. There was an end product.
Yes.
We were there to actually put a show on, so it wasn't just a thing that was just put on because they were showing you the sights. You actually saw people putting something on that was a product of why we went.
Yeah, the performance at the end was what we were all waiting for. We couldn't wait to see the final project, and you stormed it, Sue. You put on such a great performance.
Oh, well, bless you. But I'm terrible, though. I never watch what I do, though, Steve. I know some people love it, don't they? Because they will dissect everything, and they'll freeze frame, and they go, uh-oh, no. But I don't like it because I don't like anything that I do. The thing for me is, if I've done the best I can in rehearsals, that's why I'll work after hours as well. To me, if I'm happy with the performance and I can put it out to an audience who has paid money, and this is my mantra, VFM for mother, which means value for money.
Right.
If I feel that I've given them that and I'm happy to let them see my work, then I don't need to have it played back to me, because I know that I've hopefully tried and given them my best shot. Otherwise you get obsessive, Steve, and you become narcissistic, and you become, sorry, I'm just watching this. I'm just watching myself again. I'm trying to get perfection,
Yes.
But Well, you'd be bloody exhausted, dear, doing that. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's why we rehearse though, don't we, Steve?
Yeah.
That's probably why you talk like that for about 25 hours a day. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's completely true. And you do go out there, you just want to be your best, and you are your best. And I think one of the last things that you've done, Sue, was the play Harpy in Edinburgh Festival. Now, before we go, are you going to take Harpy back out there again? Is that something that you loved?
Yes. Sadly, like for all of us, though, Steve, obviously, we've had to put them on the back burner, any plans that anybody in showbiz has had.
Yes.
Even the Stones, can you imagine? Oh, the money that they've not earned this year. I mean,
yes.
They can't afford another golden chandelier now, can they? Because they haven't been out gigging.
You talk about the Rolling Stones, not the Flintstones.
Yeah, you're right, yeah. Yeah. And, so anyway, we thought, oh, well, never mind. But I'm re-rehearsing it now, funny enough.
Great.
Because we're going out on tour in September. And we're doing, I don't think we can do Ireland, sadly. I think it's probably because of the recent difficulties with,
yes, sad.
borders and all that sort of thing. But we are doing England, Scotland and Wales.
Amazing.
This time, it may be one-nighters. Sometimes I'm doing 3 at different venues. But I'm looking forward to that. It's a great piece. It's got an interval this time. They wanted to make it a bit longer.
Okay.
And also it's great for the venues because they can sell all the things that make the money in the interval, Steve, you know.
Yeah, it keeps the theatres alive.
Bit of ice cream.
Yes,
And,
what we need.
I'm looking forward to it. It's like you though, Steve, really, because you are, in your job, I mean, I know you've got your dolls, as I call them. I don't know whether that's the correct thing to say to event.
That's fine.
You have dolls,
they can't hear you. Yeah, dummies, dolls, whatever.
yeah, that's it. Well, but you're there on your own, aren't you?
Yes.
Now, no backup, no nothing. And I think that's always very brave. Anybody that goes out on their own, even if they're a stand-up, oh dear, the concentration that's required, isn't it? So I've had to, when I went to Edinburgh, you have to adjust to that, don't you? The fact that it's only yourself and the stage manager,
yes,
really, giving you the cues. So I was always a bit, but it was the most marvellous feeling when you felt that you've done a show and people have enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to it. I really like the play. She's a holder, but there's some fun in it. There's a lot of fun, but equally it's a bit sad because at the end of the piece you find out why she's doesn't want to give anything away because something happened to her when she was younger.
Okay, yeah.
And
you find that out later. No spoilers.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But really, really good. And I think, hopefully, people will enjoy it. And, you don't even know, Steve, you might have a holder, 3 doors away from you. Honest to God, people can't be judgmental about it because nobody ever knows what goes on behind somebody's door.
No, of course not. Yeah. It sounds like a wonderful piece. I hope you come to Eastbourne because that's where I live and it'll be wonderful to see you. And I'll definitely come out and see that. And I was talking to Jeffrey Holland about his Stan Laurel play, the Laurel and Hardy, and it's wonderful, but must be quite daunting just to be you for 1 hour on stage to go out and do just that. But it must be really good fun to be back out on the road again. And I really, really look forward to seeing you out there, Sue. It'll be great to see you back.
Oh, bless you, Steve. And great good luck with all you're doing as well. I hope, your first gig goes really well. And I hope there's many, many, many more years of them as well.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. Lots of love and thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, no, I really loved it. Yeah, lots of love to you. Hopefully we'll catch up.
Take care.
Darling. Bye.
Ice and Steve. Well, what a joy that was. I love her, and being a fan for decades, that truly made my day. Harpy is touring now, and Sue puts her heart into this performance. I'll be buying tickets as soon as I'm near a theatre. To find out more about the wonderful Sue Pollard, go to her website for all updates at www.suepollard.com. There's a Sue Pollard public group on Facebook and Sue_Pollard on Twitter. Today's quote comes from Lucille Ball. The secret of staying young is to live honestly, eat slowly, and lie about your age. Eyes and Teeth is written, produced and hosted by Steve Hewlett. Vocals by Larissa, Lola and Nina Hewlett. Additional vocals by Rich T. The Eyes and Teeth music and jingles are produced and performed by Kevin Dean. Thanks for listening to Eyes and Teeth. There are 9 seasons out there and over 100 episodes to listen to and enjoy for free on Apple Podcasts and many more podcast insights. Please share, download and review my show, which will help it reach more listeners and spread these wonderful careers and stories. Join me again on the next edition when I welcome to Eyes and Teeth the silent voice of comedy photography in the shape of Andy Hollingworth.